to Cape Town. New York, 43 degrees, negative 75. Cape Town, negative 33, 1825. You see 0, 15, it is at 18. So 15, then it goes to 30. So in between 15 and 30 is 18. 0, 15, 18, 45. So this line is 45. We need to subtract about 12, giving us Cape Town, New York. You cannot navigate unless your compass needle always points north to the center. Horizontal instrument for a single pole to measure concentric circles, semicircles from right angles, and full circles around a fixed point center called the polar plane coordinate system. This is the North Star. Do you see how we're pretty dang close? Considering the guy this video is replying to in the first place, who doesn't even know what direction north is on a compass, and it's the only thing that a compass does, I'd say that's pretty goddamn close for eyeballing it. New York, Cape Town. We're going to maintain our diamond on the line. And what happens? We arrive at our destination. The compass works properly. We never changed our heading because all longitudes are a perfect north-south. We align our compass with the longitudes on the map because it's a perfect north-south. It cannot function any other way. Now, looking at my estimation from the other polar plane coordinate system, look at that, 60 degrees, New York to Cape Town. And guess what? North is always pointing to the north. The compass is functioning properly. We have no change in our heading. This is how it works. The only way it works. This is an objective fact of reality. The red half of your needle is the only constant truth in existence.
Here with almost 30 years experience in the military, who is a flat earther. Hold on. I'm not done. So he is a flat earther. He's in the documentary Flatten the Curve by Vika Draza with a bunch of commercial and military pilots proving the earth is flat with real world applications. I have also had about 100 face-to-face conversations with pilots. About half of them were already flat earthers and they knew the earth was flat. The other ones are like you. They want to have a belief and opinion about how aviation works. But the physics of aviation proves a flat and stationary earth. So one of my last conversations, and it was about the TOD, was it was a professor of aeronautical sciences at Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University. She confirmed that the TOD does calculate a flat and stationary baseline. So you're coming in here with your weak beliefs and opinions based on false assumptions about airplanes, and I'm getting airplane information from people who live it and teach it. So thanks for playing, Iron B. Aviation destroys the globe.
Here we are, back on the Urbano Monte map, made in 1587. The original was 10 feet squared. What you're seeing right now is the magnetic North Pole, also known as the Rups Nigra, which means black rock. That happens to be the name of the most powerful company in the world, which is also the most powerful point in the world. That's why all compasses point north. As you can see, there's 4 rivers stemming to or from this point, which could be the cause of our tides. But how did Urbano Monte get the correct shape and size of our continents when there was no way of viewing from above? Or was there? Is our history a lie? I think so. So Australia wasn't discovered until the late 1700s. But as you can see here, there is a koala in this tree. So obviously we're not being told the full truth. And if you look on the AE map made by Gleason, the continents encompassing our known world are frozen. But here it clearly shows there are lands, massive continents. There's also a lot of mythology here. We've got sea monsters, we've got dragons, cyclopses, giants, minotaurs. Very interesting map. You could spend a lot of time looking on this. So if you go onto the davidrumsey.com website and you can literally zoom in. Don't know if anybody has translated these inscriptions circling it, but I'd love to know what they say. Apparently they was written by kings of old. So yeah, go check it out.
Take a close look at how this astronaut is closing this little hatch in his space shuttle. And to be completely honest, if you actually believe that they're in outer space and that little mushy hatch can keep them from being pulled out into the vacuum of space and having their eyes ripped out, then you probably have brain damage and you should probably go to the hospital because you need immediate medical attention because your IQ is so low that you probably have to think to breathe. And how do the astronauts breathe? Well, they're in scuba diving suits and they're underwater and they use green screen and then pretend they're in outer space because the truth is we actually can't go to outer space. It doesn't exist because you can't go past the firmament. The heavens declare the glory of God and the firmament showeth his handiwork, which was on Wernher von Braun's grave. He was one of the biggest guys in NASA, affiliated with all of the moon landings and all of these missions going to space. But we never went. And they're telling us to our face. And if you look at a real star, it looks nothing like what NASA shows us.
This is the only evidence that you need to know that the sun is not 93 million miles away. Literally just common sense. That's all it is. This right here is what it would look like if the sun was 1 million times bigger than the Earth and 93 million miles away from the Earth. Now, light only travels straight, guys. So this is exactly how we would view all of the rays that are coming to the Earth. They would only come parallel to us. That's just common sense. 1 million times bigger than the Earth, 93 million miles away. That equals this. That's it. Nothing else. There's no refraction in space or the atmosphere or anything like that. That's not the case at all. Now, local sun going around a stationary Earth would give you corpuscular rays approximately 7.2 degrees on either side perfectly all the time. Refraction is highly chaotic, not precise like this. The sun is absolutely local, guys. Peace and love. Oh, so you think radar works on a spinning ball? Well, Globies, you thought wrong. Radars don't work, navigation doesn't work, compasses don't work on a spinning ball. You've been lied to, and that's why you're a slave. Peace and love.
The indoctrination is so bad. Like, I have Blue's Clues on right now. It's a Halloween episode. They are pushing astronauts like nobody's business. Like, what do you want to be when you grow up, Timmy? An astronaut! What the f?
We're told that on July 20th, 1969, President Nixon made a phone call to the moon. His voice from a landline in the White House was relayed through NASA's massive ground stations, then beamed across 240,000 miles of space, straight to the lunar module on the moon. And they say that was possible because Earth had the big antennas, the powerful transmitters, the technology. Fair enough. This is a visual for a comedy song, by the way. We do know the official story. But now think about this. How did the astronauts send their voices back? The moon is the same distance from Earth. Radio waves don't care which direction they're traveling. They still suffer the same loss over distance. That's basic physics. It's called free space path loss. The farther a signal travels, the weaker it gets. And with the moon that far away, the signal would need to be incredibly strong just to make it back to Earth and be heard. But up there, the astronauts had no massive dish, no high-gain antennas, no high-powered transmitter, just a tiny, manually aimed antenna, barely more than an upside-down umbrella, and a few batteries powering the whole lander, less power than a household router. And yet, we're told their weak little signal punched through 240,000 miles of space, hit Earth, and came through clear enough to be heard, and even broadcast live on television. No dropout, just perfect, clean audio and video. But that doesn't add up. Same distance, same physics. But somehow, one side needs massive infrastructure, and the other can do it with glorified walkie-talkies. If it takes all that to send a signal to the moon, then, by the laws of science, it should take just as much to get it back. And they told you to forget the laws of science and believe that the power was only needed one way. But we don't. We don't believe that. And in there lies our problem with the whole thing.
It's flat. We were watching a conspiracy theory the other night, and let me tell you, we were watching, was it Shane Dawson? It was Shane Dawson. Guys, there are so many facts that it's flat. I mean, think about it. Like, think about it. Like, okay, guys, you don't even know. You don't even know. I think I am what do they call it? I think they call it a flat earther. Anyway. Are we riding? Say you'll never ever leave from beside me. Everybody's saying the earth is not flat. How do you know? Because did you know? Oh no, I'm not even going to say it because I'm probably going to be shut down on Instagram or something.
When Christians talk about flat earth, it seems the people who get most upset are other Christians. Take, for example, this gentleman here, Justin Peters from Justin Peters Ministry, who went to social media to disprove flat earth with a single photo he took from his iPhone. He also went to Facebook and made this post and said, because Mount Rainier is casting a shadow, that proves the earth isn't flat. He goes on his YouTube video to eventually say that Christians supporting flat earth and talking about it bring unnecessary shame to Christianity, and that's what I want to address. Mr. Peters seems to really go out of his way to debunk flat earth, but what I think he's trying to debunk is the literal interpretation of scriptures. And I think that's where other Christians have their problem, is that flat earthers don't have any other scientific model but the scriptures themselves. They build their whole biblical cosmology off scriptures only. The heliocentric model absolutely does not do that. In fact, it is contrary to what the scriptures say. A great place to start is Genesis 1:6, when God placed a firmament in the midst of the waters. Flat earthers believe that there is a firmament still there today. We also take a literal interpretation of the word firmament, that it's an extended surface that's solid, expanse flat as base, a firmament, the vault of heaven supporting the waters above, and considered by Hebrews as solid and supporting the waters above. We also believe that the waters are still above the firmament. Psalm 148:4, praise ye, ye heavens of heavens, and ye waters that be above the heavens. There is nothing in Scripture to support that all the water above the firmament is gone. I believe this is a psyop. We also believe Genesis 1:14, that the lights are in the firmament, not outside the firmament, and that the lights would be for signs, for seasons, for days and years. The lights above us are a giant clock. And this Gleason map shows that the sun is traveling in a circular pattern, going closer to the north and then back out to the south, which gives us our seasons. And this helps make sense of Psalm 19, verses 4 through 6, where it talks about the sun being on a circuit circuit unto the ends of it, and there is nothing hid from the heat thereof. This, again, a circuit. It's a circular pattern that the sun makes, and then it goes back out. And this is why in Joshua 10:13, you see that the sun stood still and the moon stayed until the people had avenged themselves. So the sun, being on a circuit, and the moon, being on a circuit, stood still. And the scriptures say specifically that the sun and moon stopped moving. The heliocentric model shows that we are moving around the sun. This is the exact opposite. And you see it again in Habakkuk 3:11. The sun and moon stood still in their habitation. So again, the scriptures say that the sun and moon stopped moving. We also believe that the earth has been set upon foundations. There are 12 passages that talk about this. And one of the best passages is Job 38 verses 4 through 6, where God answers Job and says, "Where wast thou when I laid the foundations of the earth? Declare if thou hast understanding." And then in verse 6, "Whereupon are the foundations thereof fastened? Or who laid the cornerstone thereof?" God is telling Job that he laid the foundations of the earth, that he even set the cornerstone. This is construction language. Those who set foundations, this is a sub-level foundation that is bearing weight. Okay, a spinning ball does not have a sub-level foundation that's bearing weight. It's a spinning ball hurling through space. God is speaking very plainly here, and we must interpret this very literally. The Bible also mentions that the earth is upon pillars 3 times. Again, load-bearing structures that are supporting the weight of the earth. The Bible also mentions that the earth has 4 corners or 4 quarters. These scriptures here, again, a spinning ball does not have 4 corners, but a flat earth model does. The Bible also says that the earth is God's footstool. And in this verse here, Jesus himself says that the earth is God's footstool. So a footstool has pillars or legs, a foundation, and a dome top. So you can see here, these represent what Jesus was even saying, that the earth is God's footstool. A spinning ball does not. Also, footstools are always stationary. They don't move. So those are just a few examples. There are many more scriptures that support a biblical flat earth model, with such an abundance of scriptures that point to a earth that is flat, with foundations upon pillars, with lights moving within the firmament. Why would we not interpret these literally and try to interpret them some other way? So I hope maybe this helps some people understand. I know that not everybody is going to agree, but that's okay. God bless.
The flat earth map dates back over 1,000 years. This map is credited to being created by a Persian astronomer. His name was Al-Biruni, and he lived between 973 AD to 1048 AD. It's the official map of the United Nations and also the United States Geological Survey. It used to be present in many places before the creation of NASA and the Antarctic Treaty in 1959. Here you see it with Admiral Byrd. This map has been restored by Dmitry from Russia with suggestions of mine, Idialenkar. Known by my YouTube channel Flat Earth Banjo, I asked Dmitry to include the Bermuda Triangle and Point Nemo, a place deep in the Pacific where NASA buries rockets. Then Robert Tozzi, a professional mapmaker, came along and enhanced the map even more. There are many people now selling this map online, but if you could order it from my online store, I would greatly appreciate it. Visit my online store now and order one of the items. I humbly thank you.